Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the Penguin episode 5, Homecoming. This was quite an episode. In fact, I say that about every single episodes, because this is 10 out of 10 TV. This show has just been spectacular from the start. It continues to just have such elevated quality for a TV show. It's amazing. It's genuinely fantastic. If you've not watched it, this is your wake-up call. Go watch it. What are you waiting for? It's so good. It's so incredibly fantastic. So what happened in this episode? Well. We pick up at a really interesting time with Oz Cobb and Vic torching the Maserati. Torching the Maserati to, I presume, cover their tracks, get rid of it as well. Maybe do an insurance scam. And the Penguin is rallying the troops. He's rallying the men that were not made men. The men that were just lackeys for the Falcones. Right? And this is actually quite important. And you'll see why. Because on the flip side of that, we then also have Sofia Falcone with the news team and all of the police as they're body bagging up the rest of the family that she obviously murdered. Now, we don't see Johnny V, but yeah, he's around. He's around. But there's an interesting interaction with the chief of police where they bring back in to the sort of story thread anyway, the new mayor of Gotham, which was introduced in the Batman. It's just a nice continuation of the lore, the sort of continuity element. I liked it a lot. And Sophia's questioning the chief of police why he would attend this personally. Is it to rub it in her face? Is it to, take photos and sell them to the Gazette? Because, of course, they're not going to be getting the kickbacks from the dead family anymore. It was just an interesting interaction. And then Sofia goes off to, I don't know, like an outhouse. Part of the building complex. And who's tied up? Johnny V. Oh, yes. Not really begging for his life, but understanding that if he tells Sofia Falcone where the money is that she wants, yeah, he'll probably just get killed. Now, there is an interesting interaction which happens between them at another time. So, further in the episode, he doesn't necessarily beg and plead, but he reveals to her maybe a long locked memory of Sofia, saying how her mother was going to be, she planned to escape. And he almost bears a personal responsibility for the death, because that was his cousin or sister, I think. One of the two. It's all incestuous anyway. And it was an interesting interaction, really, because it convinced Sofia to release him. Because he offered her help. Said, well, look, I couldn't save your mother, but maybe I can help and save you. You need respect to gather men and do what you want to do. You need respect. I can secure that for you. Which was an interesting thing to say, because Sofia commands respect anyway, or should be able to, and you'd think she would get that. But it is interesting. So, later in the episode, this is just flashing right towards the end, just to wrap up Sofia's sort of storyline, because I think this is quite important, and it relates back to the Penguin, is that the troops, quote unquote troops, that Johnny V rounds up are, again, lackeys. They're not made men, they're just lackeys. And Sofia chooses to take on a new name. She's no longer the Falcone, because obviously that's her father's name. She takes her mother's name, Gigante. And in doing so, she murders Johnny V in front of everyone, offers them a whole bunch of cash, and basically says, look, you're no longer scum, you're no longer pitiful, worthless people. You work for me now, and you will get fed. You will eat, and you'll have more money than you've ever dreamt possible. Which is interesting, because again, the reason why I've flashed forward to the end of Sofia's storyline in this is that it's the same methodology that the Penguin is using to rally troops. So, you got the former Falcone Don, now Falcone Don, anyway, or Gigante Don, doing the same thing that the Penguin does. It's removing the sort of structures that had been embedded in Gotham for a long time. And it also buys you much more respect, loyalty, you know, because you're offering these people that really yearning for it exactly what they desire. And that's what Oswald is doing, as well as Sofia Gigante, which I thought was quite interesting. It's an interesting sort of, it's not, they just run parallel to one another. How they're manipulating people is running parallel to one another. But anyway, there's some other sort of interaction with Oz. Oz tries to get the Maronis back, basically. Steals their son. God damn. Honestly, it's such great writing. It's kind of all over the place, but it's not. You know? It takes really smart writers to plan all of this out and to make it not appear obvious when these things happen. I haven't seen anything coming in these episodes. The only thing I did see slightly coming was when well, I didn't see this coming, but the Penguin literally burnt Miss Maroni and her son alive, which was just, I was not expecting that, but I did expect the mushrooms to die out, most of them, you know, where bliss is now grown. However, flash right to the end of the episode, Penguin's got a new home. Homecoming is a multiple name for this episode, or multiple meanings for this episode running through. Because the Penguin finds the underground trolley system, tram system for Gotham. Something he used to do as a kid, used to go down there and mess around and play with his brothers. And that's his new hideout, that's his new home, that's his new home base. And that's very Penguin-esque. But it's hot and humid. That's where mushrooms will grow. Other interesting key point about this episode. One, Sofia and the Maronis are going to start teaming up. That was interesting. So they're going to declare war on the Penguin. But the other interesting thing was what the Penguin said about his mother. And this is where I think that they may have telegraphed the ending of this show. But I think that they did anyway, just by having this woman in the show. Oz's mum, he said, he instructs Vic to keep her safe because it's the only thing that keeps him good. That's what he said. And so the Penguin has to become this maniacal madman at some point, right? He has to become just a ruthless psycho killer. He has to. You know, we've seen elements of it here and there, but for Penguin to be Penguin, he has to fully embrace it. And so she is going to die, I reckon. Obviously, it's not really a stretch or a surprise. But that's quite interesting, because previously I did think that it might be Vic that, you know, was his good thing. And maybe that is going to be an element of it as well. Maybe Vic does become what keeps him good, and then he dies as well. But there has to be something which tips Oz over the edge. And I think it will be his mother getting killed. So anyway, there you go. I love this episode. I love all of these episodes. It's 10 out of 10 TV. Genuinely 10 out of 10 TV. If you've watched it, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please do drop it down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. If you've enjoyed this review, give it a like and a share. As well as supporting the channel further via Patreon, because YouTube does demonetize the channel. So Patreon is linked down below. It's one of the first links. Please do support the channel. Cheers, take care. Bye-bye now.